For each of us, those goals are a little bit different. There's going to be same, right? There's going to be some commonalities, but there's going to be a lot of differences, isn't there? Each of us are in different businesses at different stages and progression of our business. And we need to be able to understand, well, whilst we have those commonalities, we can actually then draw it together to see what we can do about applying it within our business. Did you notice there that everything we talked about was stuff that is going to require you to work on the business and on yourself? True? True. So whether we're talking marketing, staff, increasing your business by a nice specific percentage, I love that. Specific, measurable, achievable, results driven and time bound. You ticked all the boxes there, Manny. So if you've got a real good clarity around your goals, you're going to have to make some time to make it happen. Who here is sitting around their business currently at the moment with their feet up on the desk wondering what they're going to do next? Anybody? No. Most of us are rather busy people. And before I mention busy being busy or busy being productive. And the key component here is busy being productive. True? Because we can all be busy. Yeah? And I'm about to share something with you that I was a little bit hesitant for. It was my birthday on Wednesday. Many of you know that. Thank you. And I don't mention it for that reason, but I sat there and I got up in the morning and all these Facebook messages started to appear. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to make a personal effort to say thank you. Grant saw, what did we get up to by lunchtime? We're up to about almost 200 or something. And I thought, I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to make a personal effort to say thank you to everybody who said thank you to me on Facebook. And the SMSs, and the emails, and the messages. I got to about 10 o'clock and realised that I had blown an hour and a half of my time. An hour and a half of my time. So what did I do? I delegated to my PA, yes. Why? Why? Because my time is valuable, and anybody who cares about me is going to understand that my time is valuable. Hayden?
I think it comes down to it was important, but it wasn't critical or essential. So it's a question of working out which important things are really, really important.
Oh, it's almost like I paid you for a segue. Very nice. What I'd like everyone to do is to draw a little cross on their sheet. Some of you may have seen this before. Draw a little cross. Okay, and one of those lines, which I usually have as the horizontal line, I'd like you to put it down right next to it, time. Yep. So, wherever you like. Just anywhere on the actual line itself. On the horizontal line. Time or urgency. Or urgency. And on the vertical line, I want you to put on there importance. Okay? So whenever I do something, and for most of you who've gotten to know me for a while, and those I've gotten to know personally understand that I am actually very, very jealous with my time, and I balance everything against those two things. How urgent is something and how important is something? So if I was to look in that bottom left-hand box, as it were, that little space, that would be a space that I would look at as something as being not urgent and not important. Okay? If you'd like to write that in that little space there. That's also known when we have our time target situation. For those of you who haven't seen that, we actually run a specific session on time management, which goes a lot deeper than what we'll be covering today. And that's what we usually call distraction. Then you've got other things which are urgent and not important. Can anybody guess where that might sit on the matrix? Yeah, bottom right. And that's commonly known. Sorry? It's urgent but not important.
How can something be urgent but not important?
Okay, that's a good question. I'll come back to that if that's okay. Urgent but not important, we call that delusion. Okay. Then we have something else which is important but not urgent, which is top right. And that's our zone time. Do I have a cross in front of me? I'll let you choose which one it goes into from your looking at it, which is called zone. And the other one, which is important and urgent, and that's known as demand. Now, if we look at everything in those 4 simple boxes, did I mention earlier that I like to keep things really, really simple? What are some good examples of things that are not urgent and not important? Facebook can be put into that category. It's not necessarily there. What are some of the other things that we do to sabotage our day with stuff that's just rubbish? Which can be Facebook. We'll get off Facebook for a minute. Hayden?
Reading all the crap emails you get sent through to you.
Can be. Yeah, in fact, that's a big part of it. Who here gets more than 20 emails a day? Keep your hand up if it's more than 40, 60, 80, 100, 150 sometimes, yeah? What do you reckon is the first key to run out of my keyboard? The delete key. And unsubscribe is my favourite word. All right, so there are a number of things that I subscribe to that are important to me, but they're not that important. They just flood into the inbox and I'll worry about it. There's other stuff that is very important to me. How do I know it until I've looked at it? I don't. But who here has got a sound that occurs when an email hits your inbox? Go on, hold your hand up. Yep. So what happens? We have this wonderful Pavlovian response and we start drooling and we go, somebody wants to talk to me. I better check my emails. And you stop what you're doing and check your emails. Horrible. Now I'll give you some examples. I was working with a client a few years ago, and one of the big things is he always got to work early. Always, 30 minutes before the rest of his team. So he could sit down, have 2 cups of coffee, 4 cigarettes and read the paper. Do you reckon that that's important or urgent? With assessment to his business? No. So what was he doing? He was allowing these distractions, and in fact it probably fell under delusion as well, that that's the way he started the day. But how do you think that started with his team? When they turned up to start work and he was out the back having a cup of coffee and a cigarette, waiting for them to get his business started. Do you think they felt motivated? No. So, delusion. Delusion is quite often the things that we think that we have to do that no one else can do. And for those of us who are management enthusiasts, this includes pretty much everything. Right? No one else can do this better than me. Margaret, we were talking about this the other day, not with relation to you, but yes. That these are the things that we can't let go of. This could be, well, I like to take the mail down to the postie. I'm the one who has to do the banking.
Like a ritual,
Yeah, it's a habit. But it's not a good habit. Right? Habits are awesome when they're actually adding value to your life or your business. But habits just for the sake of habit isn't really helpful for anybody, is it? So that's the sort of thing I was talking about there. The other thing is phones, wonderful things. Let me apologise and inform you in advance that if you call me on my mobile, you are unlikely to get me because my phone is permanently diverted to my office where the girls answer the phone. Why? Because I recently recognised that is that when the phone rings, is it urgent? Yeah, of course it's urgent. Why? Because the bloody thing's ringing. Is it important? Possibly. How many non-important calls was I taking? Hey honey, can you pick up some bread and milk on the way home? Important? Sure. But it's not urgent. but not urgent. Hey, my wife's going to be watching this video, so of course anything she says is important to me. However, what we've discussed is a very simple system that if she needs something that's not both urgent and important, seriously, and unless something's wrong with the kids or the house is burning down or something that I need to get involved with immediately, just send me an SMS, shoot me an email. Why? Because I've got certain times in the day in my diary when I check my emails. Why? Certain times and only certain brackets. If I don't finish reading my emails in that amount of time, what happens to the rest of the emails that are in there? Gets deleted. Or I wait until the next time I have to catch up the second time in that day to be able to act on those emails. What does that force me to do? It forces me to look at what's the most urgent, most important thing. So if I get something from, I don't know, I'm not even talking Viagra now. I'm talking about you get something in your inbox that's from a newsletter that you like to read, but I've got an email from a client. Which one's going to be most urgent, most important? Sorry, what was that? Yeah, say it with a bit of conviction. So the reality is, what does that force me to do? Take care of the things that I need to look after, the important things. And the other stuff waits. And I've got folders with hundreds of emails that I'll get to one day. But how often do we allow our days to get sucked up like that? When we talk about demand, the stuff that's both urgent and important, what do I mean by that? There's some people here in the room that should know answers to this. What do you reckon, Mr. Jennings? I'm going to pick on you since you've been so quiet over there. Demand would be... Yes! The simple reference to it is that's the stuff that makes you money. The doing of your business. Right, but until now, I've had to wade through two different areas to cut out the rubbish, to get through the noise, to the stuff that makes me dough. Is there anybody here who's not in business to make money? Fair and equitable profit. Oh, thank goodness no one stuck their hand up. Okay, so who'd like to make more money? Right. Big part, find out delusion and distraction and get rid of some of it. And I've got some really easy formulas in here with A, B, C, D and E. In the way that you actually look at it, the way you prioritise those things. The stuff that every single one of you talked about requires the other one. The stuff that's not urgent but important. The stuff that requires us to work on our business. But because there's no urgency attached to it, what do we tend to do with it? Put it off. What are some other things in our lives and our business that we need to focus on that are not urgent but important? Tip, we've got a personal training studio sitting over here talking about health. Our health might be a good one. If I'm standing here today and I'm feeling pretty good, is my health important? Yes. Is it urgent? No. What happens if I had a stroke? What's happened to the urgency of my health? Change a little bit. When's the best time to work on that? When I've had one or when I haven't? Now would be a good start. I can say that now that I'm being congruent. But that's the sort of thing, working on our business, making that time. I always suggest to people, if you could put aside 3 to 5 hours a week to work on your business will flourish. Am I talking about 3 to 5 hours a day? No. How many days in the week have we got? Yeah, how many hours in each of those days? 24. So I'm not even asking you to take more than 1 hour out of each day to work on your business. Now, if business is busy and you've got lots of commitments, what's a really good way of actually finding time?
Not sleeping.
Yeah. I kid you not. I kid you not. We are in a tough gig, right? If you don't make dough, what's going to happen to you and your business, your home and your family? Down the gurgler. Can I put up with an hour's less sleep at either end of the day to make sure that doesn't occur? Yeah, and yet we don't take a really simple discipline and do what we have to do. You know, I hear so many speakers who talk about, yes, it's all about life-work balance, and I absolutely agree, and today is one of the most important things that we're going to cover around life-work balance.
That was the real answer, less sleep.
Sorry?
That was the real answer, less sleep.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be. It's, I'm gobsmacked. I'm looking around the room at the moment and I know someone who should be here, who will take time off to go and pick his kids up from school, which is freaking awesome. I enjoy the same freedom at times myself, but complains he doesn't have enough time to get his business planning done, or to put together a marketing plan, or to make an extra few phone calls to his customers, or to sit down and sit with his accountant and review his financials. Priorities. So what I want you to do is the next exercise, and I'll give you a little bit extra time, is draw another blank cross, mark it up exactly the same way, and I want you to look at the most common activities that you are doing right now that are inside each of those 4 categories. And I'll give you 60 seconds per because I value your time. And actually that's a good question. For those who haven't done time management with me before, why do I give you time periods for these activities? Concentrate, we've got focus. What else?
You need to actually meet the deadline.
Yes. Yes, we've set ourselves a boundary because we will take the time that we allocate. If you don't allocate time, you are going to take as much time as it takes. When you force yourself to focus, what happens? You focus, you get stuck into it, you get in, you get out, and you're done. So, if it's 1.5 minutes per quadrant, that'll give you 6 minutes, starting now to write down the things in each of those 4 quadrants that are currently filling up your day.